my man Warrior and Arnold talking about mods 2.0 and how Mob Enforcer will be the next best tank in Galaxy of Heroes.
And welcome back. This is your man Warrior, and that's right, you just heard a whoo from
Arnold. Yay! How's it going? Thank you for having me on. I think this is the first time I've been on your channel besides those group collabs that we do on those trips. I'm excited. We're going to talk about something important today, man.
What are we going to talk about today? Tell everybody, what are we talking about today?
Man, so Mods 2.0 is somewhere around the corner, and you got the scoop from the developers that they're making changes to defensive-based stats on mods, and you want to talk about the top 5 most improved tanks post-Mod 2.0, and you haven't told me the list. You want to get my initial reactions. I'm really curious to see what you think will be the next best set of tanks for this upcoming update.
That's right. So what we are going to cover is there is a change in mods that's happening, and it is going to significantly improve a few of the stats. Namely, health is going to get improved, defense is going to get improved, and some other stats. How is this going to impact the tanks? Now, we know there are really good tanks out there, right? Like Sith Trooper self-boosts himself. I mean, he compresses the damage with that extra armor, the 100% armor that he gives himself. And, you know, General Kenobi is a known tank. What I want to talk about are the more auspicious tanks, the ones that nobody really knows, uses, or even cares about anymore, because these tanks have kind of fallen out of favor or never had favor, but they're going to see a huge boost when Mods 2.0 kicks in. So this is the top 5 list of the best, most improved tanks to come after Mods 2.0. All right, we are looking at 5s. That's right, number 5 is 5s. Now, 5s is the 10th best tank for tenacity, and that is something that's coming that's going to become significant because of the improvements to tenacity in Mods 2.0. He is also first tank in the game for mitigating physical damage, which we know most characters, not all, most characters do physical damage, especially the damage dealers. So he's best at mitigating that physical damage. He's got the 10th best tenacity, and he has a large health pool, which is going to be really significant, but he also has high armor. And in Mods 2.0, you will be able to mod him correctly with defense mods and health. And think about that old team with Barriss Offee and General Kenobi. And under General Kenobi, he can taunt. So he can actually taunt, right? And think about a Barriss Offee that now has the Mods 2.0 health on her. And then she's giving that to them with his new defensive stats. What do you think of 5s as number 5 best, most improved tank with Mods 2.0?
I'm going to say I'm a bit surprised to see 5s in here. I haven't seen much action from the last time we really saw true action with 5s was, during that period where Barriss was a thing, or even when Dooku was a thing. You want to make sure you keep hitting 5s, and 5s would just keep counterattacking with his offense up he'd get from the Dooku lead. Other than that, we haven't seen much use out of him, but I kind of see where you're going. I mean, right now, a lot of these numbers are very abstract for me, but hypothetically, because of his high defense, imagine just having some like Han Solo try to hit him, and he's absorbing all that big damage coming his way. So, I mean, maybe, who knows? Maybe this might make those Barriss teams and General Kenobi leads a lot more vital. If you can get 5s to taunt after he uses his special under the Kenobi lead, that might get a little nasty if you're not using a Palpatine lead or some sort of heal immunity. But man, that sounds like a deadly combo right there. That'd be really interesting to see if the defense makes him a lot better.
And then the last thing is he's a crew member. He has a ship.
Yes. All right. So that helps out a lot too right there. So there you go. 2 for 1 special.
That's right. Let's move on to number 4. Sunfac. That's right, Sunfac. All right, Sunfac has these, he's got really high health. He's in the top 20 of 160 characters. He's in the top 20 for health. He's got the 3rd highest protection in the game. He has the 4th best armor in the game. And he's got the 5th best tenacity in the game. So one of the things about him, and he's a crew member, he has his own ship. And so he's just like 5s, he's going to be highly improved. Tenacity is going to play a much bigger role. Health is going to play a much bigger role. Armor is going to play a much bigger role. And with him, it's going to benefit all of that. And with the ability now to make him highly tenacious and not apply the debuffs that people want to apply, you're going to ensure that people don't just stun lock him and put him out of commission. And his ability to counter on basic with Dispel on basic may have use again. I see him as the 4th most improved upon tank after mods 2.0. What are your thoughts?
Same. Yeah. I mean, I was just going to say, I remember Sunfac, he's definitely in that top 5 range for armor right there. So seeing how defense should drastically improve that. I mean, even before he was able to soak up damage, adding that on top of him will help out a lot. And yeah, that was one of the biggest problems too, is he gets stun locked a lot. That was one of the ways to counter him so he doesn't counterattack. Get rid of all your buffs or your taunting tanks, taunts and all that. So getting that higher tenacity, high defense, that's what a tank needs to make sure it stays a threat on the field while at the same time absorbing damage coming their way. So that's actually really cool. Glad to see Sunfac on the list. He's one of those tanks that are pretty easily accessible. It's great for ships, and that high tenacity and defense will help him out a lot.
Yeah, and I think with a crew member, a lot of people are already focused on him, so for his ship anyway. But
it's not a lost cause.
That's true. And now let's move on to number 3. Yes! First Order Stormtrooper. Woo!
Oh, man, that's a good one. All right.
Yes. Now, I know I've given some love to some light side and then some dark side, but you know, some people are like, no love for those first 2, right? But for this one, I think people can get behind this number 3. Now, the reason why I picked him is he has the 4th best tenacity in the game.
57%.
He's got the 3rd highest armor compression, the ability to reduce armor. 11th highest in health. Now that's a big deal because out of 160 characters, he's basically in the top 8th percentile for health. And that's going to matter when you mod him with a bunch of health and defense because he can shoot back, right? He's got that counter and he's got a little bit of health steal as well, especially when you get him into gear 12. And he's a crew member. That's right. Another tank that is kind of not, you know, looked at a whole lot except for those people who love First Order. So that's why I have him in the number 3 slot, most improved after mods 2.0. What do you think?
I'm not sure if this is what this was added to your formulation when making this list, but also First Order Stormtrooper on his the Order Relentless. When he finally taunts, he self-cleanses, so that's very nice. You're going to get rid of that buff immunity on him. And the other thing is he gets defense up for 4 turns. That's probably one of the longest defense ups that we have in the game right there. So again, I'm not quite sure theoretically how defense up will kind of play with the new increase on defense with the mods. But I'm kind of scared to see what the damage is going to look like when you're trying to hit First Order Stormtrooper. He's counterattacking. He might be remove some buffs on the counterattack. It sounds like it could be a nasty combo. So a lot of defense on this guy. So I'm really kind of curious to see how this will be post-patch.
And I'm thinking about all areas of the game, of course. I've thought about ships a little bit, but I've got territory battles, territory wars, you know, arena, all of that in mind when I'm thinking about this. But what's most important is PvP for a lot of people. And in PvP, you're going to be taking a non-meta team, more than likely, against this team because people are going to put First Order on defense and you're going to have to take in, let's pretend you take an Ewoks. Well, right now they can kind of walk through the First Order, but when mods 2.0 happens and he gets that defense up and he's properly modded, it's going to completely mitigate the attempts that you're trying to do damage to this particular character. So he's going to change from being okay to being phenomenal after the mods change. Yes.
And then keep in mind, you're going to have probably Kylo Ren on Mass on the same team too. So you're going to have 2 tanks on the same team. And that's a lot of damage for you to finally get through before you can work on the other First Order members.
And Kylo Ren would be on this list, but he's an obvious. Like I said, I want to see most improved tanks. And so Kylo Ren Unmasked is going to have that health regeneration, and you're going to mod him for a bunch of health. And so after mods 2.0, it's going to be sick, disgusting. He's going to hit and gain so much health back. So I haven't forgotten about those. Remember, this list is for people and tanks that aren't being utilized a whole lot or underappreciated that are going to see the largest boosts. Yep. Let's move on to number 2. Scarif Rebel Pathfinder, Scarif Rebel Pathfinder.
This guy. I never liked this guy. Convince me why this guy is your number 2 most improved.
Oh my gosh. So there's a few lovers out there and of this guy, and they're sold out for this guy. And if you don't, if you've never heard anybody make a defense or an argument for him, I'm going to make one, and they're going to go, amen, brother. So first off, he has the 14th highest tenacity in the game. It's decent, and you'll be able to make him more tenacious. As a tank, a highly tenacious tank is a terrible tank to go go against because,
Yeah.
you know, you're trying to do that. And prior to this, tenacity wasn't really effective, but it is now after mods 2.0. So this tank is going to have new play. Now, we talked about damage, special damage and physical damage. He's 7th highest for mitigating special damage, 6th highest for mitigating physical damage. That's right. He's one of the best tanks in the game for mitigating damage. And he has the 7th highest health pool and the 7th highest protection pool in the game. He's in like the top 10 list for every single thing, and he's a crew member to top it all off. So he also has one of the best ships in the game. I mean, that ship can hit through foresight, it can dispel it. It's amazing. So this guy, after mods 2.0, is going to be a tank you'll be able to completely put in the right mod set, and it's going to just make him crazy overpowered in a way that he's never seen true traction. And someone like you, I think, can go from saying, why do I have him in my roster, to, man, this is an amazing tank I can utilize both either on offense or defense for territory wars, battles, and all that. What do you think?
So I got to say, when you first mentioned it, I wasn't completely sold initially, but I can kind of see where his purpose might be. The numbers are there. The stats are there. He's got solid stats. My main concern was the kit. I'm looking at it. There's not really too much health regeneration going on here. Not much in that regard. But what I'm looking at here is that for Territory Wars, what if you find a spot for Scarif Pathfinder? Because I'm looking at the do or die unique ability right now. And in the situation, he dies and he can revive himself. Before, you just do one more hit and he's done. But now, maybe after he revives, he can stay in the battle a lot longer and get the opportunity to kind of get himself back up and running. And here, if you have a full Rebel team with Commander Luke Skywalker, you're getting 15% max health and plus 20% turn meter for each Rebel ally. So this could be a good reviving tank for our Rebel team for those territory wars or maybe territory battles. So although not the most overtly obvious, I can kind of see why you might think this is a very much improved tank. So I'd like to see how this character kind of moves beyond this update.
Absolutely. And I know some of the developers in the interviews, including my interview, said a couple of things that caught some people's attention. They said there are a few characters that are on a teetering border of it being viable or not based on its like defensive stats. They didn't mention who they were, but I can guarantee that Scarif Pathfinder was one of those tanks that they were talking about. Unequivocally, this tank needed this mods 2.0 to happen to really boost it into overdrive. And for any of the whales out there, they'll say Scarif's amazing, but for anybody out there who only has him at gear 8 or 9, they probably don't think much of him. But he's the second most improved tank after mods 2.0. Are you ready for number 1? Are you ready for number 1?
We built our way to the top. Tell me, Warrior, what's going to be number 1 for today?
And here we go. Boom! One of the most hated characters in the game, Holdo!
Holdo!
Oh no!
I thought she was already a pretty decent tank before. I mean, she gets the hate because of where she is in the Star Wars universe, but I thought she was a pretty decent tank. What is making her even better than before? I already thought she was already pretty good.
She has the 4th highest protection pool, and she has the 1st highest health pool. Number 1 health pool. Now, this is what makes her so wicked. She has the highest health pool and the highest health steal for a tank for the ones that were assessed at 30% health steal. 30% health steal and the largest health pool. And so because of this, she's already a decent tank, but she's on a lot of people's kind of list. And I hear a lot of people dogging her and saying she's not a very good tank and she's not going to do very well. She has an amazing kit. She really deserves a spot on people's teams. And up to this point, there's been many people that have said, you know, I'm not going to use her. She's not worth it. She doesn't do enough, blah, blah, blah. Well, she also brings a cleanse and restoration and healing in multiple ways, multiple heals to her team. And with the number 1 health pool and the ability to do health steal, and now with mods 2.0 with healing, this is going to make her crazy good. And there's a lot of combinations, such as like with Barisafi or Visasmar, that are going to make her even better. And so I see her having the absolute greatest gains from where she sits now to mods 2.0. She's the only one that doesn't have a ship yet. maybe one day.
Ship one day. Who knows?
Maybe. And maybe it'll go and just kill it. and just kill itself.
Ultimate ability, just crash into the other capital ship.
No, just crash into the other side and it destroys all 5 ships or whatever's out. That would be awesome. Just obliterates it. Makes that long sound.
Obliterates them. Oh. Oh my goodness.
That would be hilarious.
I never thought she was a horrible tank. I always thought she was a decent tank. I really like her in those resistance teams. Outside of a resistance team, she's kind of meh. But yeah, she has a really high health steal, that 30% health steal. Man, that could be deadly when you include all those new updated health mods. And another thing to keep in mind is that she's going to get 10% protection every time she's getting taunted. And so between the health steal, so you land an AoE, that's a lot of health steal right there potentially. Then you're getting the 10% health recovery every time foresight being lost. She's gaining taunt. I see a lot of potential. Then she also has that critical avoidance. So you're going to try to hit her. She might be able to shake off some of those critical hits. So yeah, I kind of see where this is going. It's too bad for special ability. Oh, sorry, go for it.
That's all right. Also, she's going to be under JTR more than likely, and that boosts the damage that everybody does. And so under her, she's going to be doing a whole lot more damage than she would in a more obscure team. Right. And so this might be enough to actually place her into that #1 spot. So that's your top 5 list of most obscure tanks that are going to come into fruition of their own, going to go through puberty and be a tank that's worthy of your teams after Mods 2.0. What are your guys' thoughts on my list? I know it's just my opinion, so I want to hear your opinion as well. Leave them in the comments down below. Now, Arnold, thank you so much for taking the time to hop onto my channel, and I really appreciate getting to chat and hearing your view on these things.
It was a lot of fun. This is a really fun video to do, and hopefully this is a video helpful to all your audiences out there. I think this is going to be very important going into the future. Defense and health might be the future of mods. We'll see when it comes out.
Yep, absolutely. And if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. And keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.
Dun 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 dun. Insert warrior logo.